telling bad news. That's bad news. Let's all complain about the bad news in Minneapolis. And they didn't do it. This is weird. I'll read it to you again. Now those who were scattered. I've got to go back and read 8:1 again. There arose on that day a great persecution against the church in Jerusalem, and they were all scattered throughout the regions of Judea and Samaria, except the apostles. Verse 4. Now those who were scattered went everywhere telling good news about the Word. Maybe that's the way the Lord will have to do it. Will there be any takers? Oh my, are we a complaining people? Something bad happened to us. Why'd you do that, God? I mean, the Apostle Paul was of another ilk, and so were those early Christians. They lost their houses. They lost their possessions. They lost their hometown. They are refugees with very little, and they are going everywhere saying, there's good news, there's good news, there's good news, because they were blown away by what had happened a few years ago on the cross. Absolutely blown away by the death of the Son of God and the resurrection of the Son of God and the free offer of the gospel that all of my sins are forgiven and I have eternal life no matter what anybody does to me. They were so blown away. You can have my house, have my family, have my health, have my car, have my books. I've got the gospel. Maybe that's the way He'll have to do it. To really find out who we are. And who's going to say, when everything else falls away, I've just got good news left. It's all I've got. Don't have anything else, just good news. I hope we can move. I'll give you one more way He might do it and I'll close. Because it's in the text. I made that one up by going back to Acts. But this one is in the text, and so let's go to chapter 2, verses 1 to 3. I'm closing with the question, what should we do? I mean, you're sitting there feeling guilty, right? What should we do? And I want you to feel free. I want you to feel empowered. I want you to feel that God's gone before you. He's got miracles to work through your simple mouth. Every bumbling testimony is a glory in heaven written down to your account someday, no matter what. And if anybody spits in your face or makes fun of you, that's written down too, and He will repay you 10,000 times. Just believe that. So put away all malice and all deceit and hypocrisy and envy and all slander. And like newborn infants, long for the pure spiritual milk, that by it you may grow up to salvation, if indeed you have tasted that the Lord is good. Calling us newborn infants is not, in this context, a comment about our spiritual immaturity. That's 1 Corinthians 3. That's not what this means. All he's doing here is saying, okay, now that we're newborn, now that we're born again, according to verse 23, through the Word, there's something to be desired daily. And I want you to desire it, Peter says, the way a baby desires milk. That's the analogy. He's not saying you're a baby spiritually. He's saying you may be the most mature person in the world, and you must daily desire this milk the way a baby desires milk. And the word milk doesn't mean soft food, not heavy doctrine. None of that's going on in this text. This text is all about a desire for something, and the analogy is little babies desire milk, you should desire it like that. How do they desire milk? Every day, cry if they don't get it, need it for strength, wah, 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 demanding, I gotta have this. That's the way you should want something. What? what? Man does not live by bread alone, but by every word that comes out of the mouth of God. Jesus said in Matthew 4:4. I think Peter is saying by this double phrase, pure and spiritual. You see that phrase? Desire the pure spiritual milk. That word spiritual is not the word that contrasts with fleshly. It's the word that contrasts with literal. Spiritual meaning as opposed to literal meaning. So when he says spiritual milk, he's calling attention to the fact that he means something by the milk that's not milk. And in the context and the nature of that word, if you knew it, I'm going to argue with the King James Version, which is pretty good authority here, and many commentators, it's the milk of the word. It's the milk of the word. And you can just see it flowing in the text. Verse 23, you were born again through the living and abiding Word. And now newborn babes, like newborn babes, earnestly desire this pure and this symbolic milk, namely the Word. And then he adds this. Just as newborn people daily desire the Word, they do it if they have tasted that the Lord is good. It does not say if they have committed themselves to the fact that the Lord is good. It does not say if they have decided to believe that the Lord is good. It does not say if they have come to the conclusion logically that the Lord is good. It says if they've tasted it. In other words, I'm asking you, does your heart have spiritual taste buds that when the biblical portrayals of Jesus land on the heart says, that is more desirable than anything? That's the evidence of being born again. Taste buds are created. They were dead. You taste Him 15 years ago or before you were saved, you taste Him and say, boring, disinteresting, mythological. But when you're born again, taste buds are created on the heart. Or you could say eyes are created in the heart. If you went to Ephesians 1. Seeing they do not see, and ears are created on the heart. Hearing they do not hear. There's a hearing and a non-hearing. There's a seeing and a non-seeing. There's a tasting and a non-tasting. Do you taste? And so my concluding prayer for us before next week, I give you really practical, concrete, I hope helpful suggestions, is for us to fight this at the deepest level. And the deepest level is taste of heart. Do you, when you are exposed to a biblical portrayal of Christ, does your heart, like a taste bud tasting honey or whatever you like, imagine, tasting, you say, that's the best I've ever had. Have to be a connoisseur of Christ's. He's the real deal. That's better than money. That's better than success. That's better than staying alive for retirement. That's better than anything. That's what the taste that He is good does. And then you desire more of the Word and you see more of Him and your taste gets better and you desire more of the Word and your taste gets better. And as you grow up, I'm 62, I hope I live long enough just to taste Him full enough so that when I meet Him, I won't be regretful. This is where we need to get serious. We spread the seed of God's mighty regenerating power if we've tasted that the Lord is good. The Lord is our delight. The Lord is our bread. The Lord is our water. The Lord is our wine.